What's good, family? It's Kevin O here in another live interview. Today I have Mike Bledsoe, who many of you will know is a legendary entrepreneur and dear brother. I'm going to bring him on here and pick his brain with his considerable knowledge of holistic health, coaching, philosophy, and many other things. So I'm going to get Mike in this. Tuning in, type in the comments where you're tuning in from. If you're watching later, type replay. If you have any questions or topics you want us to cover, hit us up. There he is.
What's up?
Buenos dias. How you doing, Mike?
Uh, Doing great, doing great. Just got back from a walk and did some writing. So good morning so
Nice.
far.
I like the glasses. Are those prescription or are those a new kind of blue blocker?
Blue blocker.
Oh, right on.
I've been able to maintain better than 2020.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, yeah.
Must be all the beef liver and the bison and all the good stuff.
Yeah. I really think that the best thing for the eyes is spending time in nature.
Right.
Looking at things far away, looking at things close.
That makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
Well, Mike, for the people that don't know who you are and what Mike Bledsoe is all about, I'd love for you to tell the people.
Oh man, what am I all about? You know what? I've been obsessed with health my entire life. And the thing that I'm noticing that's the most disturbing right now is that people are putting their health in the hands of MDs and people with lab coats. And medical doctors know about as much about health as lawyers do know about morality. And so this is, this is like the reason that the world is so sick right now is because people have handed their own personal authority over to others and don't even know how to validate the truth for themselves, and that is what's going on in their own body. And so I'm very inspired to help health coaches who really understand health and know how to guide their clients to that, but they're really put at a disadvantage. Any health coach is at a disadvantage because, we're not competing with other coaches. We're competing with the institutionalized medicine. People have a really hard time spending money on their health because they believe that it should be paid for by insurance, and insurance is only going to give you that institutionalized medicine and not going to give you what's actually good for you. And so, if you're an MD or you're a psychotherapist or whatever, and you're working in a corporate environment, your marketing is done by you, by the government, by insurance companies, and by your employer.
Right.
The average person can't even think of looking outside of those really tiny boxes in order to get any help. And the idea of paying out of pocket, just, people have been trained to think that, they deserve to get everything for free from other people. And it's to be in a place where you can educate others. It takes a high level of marketing. It takes really solid messaging. And, if you're a health coach, you also have to be a better business person than someone who's got, some type of crazy credentials behind their name.
Totally. Yeah, you're nailing a lot of things here. And, the coaching industry, and really for a lot of solopreneurs, you have to learn copywriting, sales, marketing, business operations and management. And you're not competing with the coaching industry, which it's funny because I think people think it's like saturated and everyone's a coach because of their, algorithm bubble perception. But really, like you said, you're actually competing with the legacy institutions of healthcare, mental health care, pharmaceuticals. Let's just be honest. Like you said, the government's already done their, the hard lifting, the heavy lifting of marketing for them. People just assume that's where you go to get healthy, right? Or to break through an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sad because sometimes people like to argue with me about these types of things and want to get into the nuances of what's going on. And all I have to point at is, what are the results? What are the
Mm-hmm.
results of the people who follow the mainstream advice? We're the fattest, sickest, most diabetic, cancerous society of all time. It's not working. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the things that aren't working, but I can tell you it's not. And the people, the 1% who actually engage in, the things that most people consider to be alternative, which I think is just the most natural way of doing things, they're perfectly fine. I got COVID one time, and it lasted about 24 hours. I know some people that, they got the jab, and they're on their fourth run. They're on their fourth run with it. Like, it doesn't
Right.
work. And, all we got to do is look at the results.
Totally. I love
Now
that. I love that
now I
model.
just got your whole thing censored.
Well, fuck it. I mean, I've played it intelligently, but I'm also not gonna, shy away from just the facts, which are, as you say, the results speak for themselves. I mean, I'm sure you've seen these memes and all these articles going around where the health ministers for most of the Western world are like old, obese people
They're
that
disgusting.
they look unhealthy. They look like zombies. It's like is this a parody sketch like by College Humor? No, this is our elected officials.
Well, they're not even elected. They're
Right,
placed.
they're appointed, right?
They're appointed by people who were elected who, never do what they say they're going to do. But they're sickly. They're really over. I've yet to see one that looks. Well, there's one like, and it's the guy in Florida. That dude looks healthy AF.
Mm.
And his advice goes against the rest of whatever you see in the United States. And but everybody else, they're either they look sickly and frail or just fat. Yeah.
It's baffling, absolutely baffling. We're living in upside down land or clown world, and it's pretty crazy. Well, Mike, I want to talk about the coaching industry specifically because I know you support so many coaches and you've built and been part of multiple businesses that had coaching as a component. And I posted recently about I just did a quick Google search. I'm sure you could break it down, but the bulk of the market share is executive or business coaching, which is like something between 10 and 15 billion. And then the rest of the 20-ish billion, pushing 25 billion of the entire coaching industry includes things like health coaches, life coaches, etc. What are you seeing as some of the major shifts happening in the industry? Because I think a lot of people, I've been coaching for 7 years, so some people would say, oh, I've been doing it since the 80s, which is fine. But even in that time, I've seen massive changes. Even since when we met, several years ago, I feel like it's a completely different game now.
Yeah. And one point on the executive coaching versus, say, the health coaching is, if you're an executive coach, you're probably charging about, I'd say on average, it's probably 10 times the price of health coaching.
Right.
So, those numbers aren't coming from volume, they're coming from price point. So
Right.
there's way more people buying health coaching in some respect. The big difference that I've noticed, because I've been in the game since 2007, I opened up my first gym, and then 2012 I went online. And when I went online, I had a YouTube channel and a podcast, and it was basically really solid advice around strength and conditioning for CrossFit athletes, right? And we were super niche because nobody was doing it. No one had a podcast that was entertaining, that was helping CrossFit athletes understand, why they should do certain things and why they shouldn't and all that. It was just kind of, up to that point, everyone was just kind of like a lemming, and still a lot of that. But that was niche. Now, if you fast forward 10 years, it's been 10 years now since I started that. It's not niche anymore. If you go look for a strength and conditioning podcast targeting CrossFitters, there's at least 100. You cannot start that YouTube channel, that podcast, and be successful you have to go even more niche.
Mm,
And I mean, it's happening so fast. Like you have to go like, it's like niche on niche on niche. And my favorite example of this is the knees over toes guy. I don't know if you've
right.
seen his stuff.
I've seen stuff.
Yeah. And so I think that what most coaches struggle with in the beginning is identifying what their niche is. And they like, oh, I can help everybody. So I want to help everybody. So I'm going to market to everybody, which means nobody's going to hear your message. And so I love the knees over toes guy because he hits this formula that I teach, and that is, what's your demographic? So his is like 35 to 55-year-old dudes. What's your value? You know, what are your values? What's your value graphic? And the people that are attracted to him and what he values and talks about is being athletic. Like, I value being athletic. And then he solves one specific problem. It's like, what's in between you and that value of athleticism? And it's knee pain. And,
Mm,
you know, and he attracts a lot of former athletes because, you know, I'm a prime example of this. Is I competed for 20 years in different sports. And the only thing that keeps me from being as athletic as I was I'm having some type of pain, whether it be neck pain or you know, hip pain, back pain, knee pain, and I do have knee pain. And so when this guy comes along, he's like, yeah, I've got neck pain and I've got knee pain, but I've got, you know, I'm working on this and this way. And I started doing the program and it works. It works really well. And so he did what most people are terrified to do, and that
mm,
is go super niche. Because like, well, what if someone's my ideal client, but they, you know, have back pain? I can still help them. I promise you, when you go into the Knees Over Toes guys program, the guy is incredibly knowledgeable across the board. He's not just he didn't like learn how to fix just his knees. He understands shoulders. He understands the back. If you were to like get in, the deeper you go into his program, the more holistic it becomes.
right.
And so, um, the mistake I see most coaches leading with is wanting to be holistic from in their explanation. Like they think that that's a selling point. The
Right.
only people who want holistic results are people who already know something. They're already a nerd. They're the 1% that we don't need to reach. If you want to reach that other 99%, we have to talk to them with the conversation that's already happening inside of their head. So if you've got a problem, you know, I think a really common one that stands out for people is like, how often does the average person think about money? Like
Huge.
it's probably what they think about most,
More than
right?
sex, probably.
More than sex. Yeah, because it's a problem. And it's well, because the money leads to sex, right?
Right.
So it's like it's like I don't have enough money and status, so I can't procreate, and you know, women don't value me and don't see
Right.
me as a protector and a provider. And so so it's like a biologically driven to a degree. But you know, if you think about how much people, this is why it's so easy to sell like financial stuff, is because the
Mm,
ROI is so direct. Like your return on investment will be, it's like, oh, I put this much money into the program, I get this much out. But people think about money all the time. They worry about it. If they don't have it, they're thinking about, you know, how much they don't have, what they can't do, or how to get more. And if they do have it, they're worried about losing it. And so this is a perfect example of a pain point. And I like to use this one because I think most people do have that story running around their head most of the time and are looking for solutions. So when someone comes to you and says, hey, I got a solution for money, they're like, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking about. You're talking directly to me, you know, or damn, my knee's been hurting and you're going to talk about knee pain. Now I feel like I'm being hurt. But if someone goes, dude, I can change your life. I can make you, like, you can have the best life ever. And someone's like, that it's not believable. How can I
right.
believe you? I don't know. Like you don't even understand my problems. Like you tell me you can change my life, but you're not even talking to me.
Well, no one's thinking about their entire life at once. Like you're saying, it's a
No.
specific need or problem, one
Yeah,
at a
it's
time.
so I'm real big on like, okay, what's the number one? What's their value? What do they value the most? What's in their way? What's the problem? So focusing really on that, and then after we work together, because they're going to now have a new problem, and so this is where you get this is how you build a sustainable coaching business. Is you then start predicting where they're going to be after that. So the more you coach, the more predictable the behavior of your clients become. And so it's like, oh, I know that once we solve the marketing issue and they've got leads, we got to, solve for retention or, I've got clients that come in, they're like, dude, I'm doing like 20, 30K a month. But I don't know how to grow. And I was like, well, let's just look at your budget. And we look at the budget and go, oh shit, you have no idea what you're doing with your money. Cool. That's actually the next best thing. And it can be such a hard switch for them because, we tend to try to solve our problems with more. And it's like, oh, because I did that for the longest time. It's like, dude, I remember when I made, I was like, dude, if I could just make $10,000 a month, I would, that would like in my mind, all my problems would have been solved,
Right.
And then I hit 10,000. I was like, dude, this money does not go nearly as far as I thought it was going to go. So
Classic.
it's like 30,000. Okay. Damn. I tripled my revenue, but I put like an extra $500 a month in my pocket. Like what? I don't know how to do this. And I go to 100,000 a month and running into similar problems. It's like, yeah, each time my personal income is going up a little bit, but not nearly to the degree. And, it's because I didn't budget well. If I would have budgeted well from the very beginning, dude, 30K a month is plenty. Like you can live a good life, invest money, set yourself up for, that quote unquote retirement, just having enough passive income to run your life. And the reason that people never get there is because the changing of those gears is so difficult. And most people need a guide to show them that. It's like, okay, I know that it feels like more sales is going to solve your problem, but in reality, it's just going to make it worse. Let's put a pause on this. Let's put this in maintenance mode and then put our attention over here. Like when I first got into like budgeting and, once I found out that was my main problem, it was hard to swallow, by the way. I was like, but I got really good at like making money. I was like, yeah, but you're just going to work really hard for nothing. So,
Right.
it took me a good 6 months of hitting the pause button and getting the money straight before I could feel good about making money again, putting more, working on getting more sales and marketing. And when I did, I was so motivated because I knew exactly how that money was going to flow when it came in. Most people, when the money flows in, all they can think about is paying off some debt, or all they think about is like, moving to a bigger house or whatever, or traveling the world or whatever it is. And that's as far as it goes. So yeah, having a solid plan, that's an example. Like I can predict that after someone learns sales and marketing, the next problem is going to be that.
Totally. I love this. This is the stuff I wish I knew, when I got started. And I don't know who asked this on what podcast. It was either Tim Ferriss or Gary Vee. But I want to ask you, and beyond what you've already shared, because I think you've already shared the formula, which is niche even more, predict the problems, have a budget. And you mentioned a lot of areas, but Mike, right now, if I took away your reputation and all your businesses and you had to start at square one, right?
Yeah.
And you had social media as it exists in September 2022, like what's your move? What's the first move and how would you approach it?
You know what? My specific situation, I live in Austin. I would do in-person networking events.
Okay.
I would be out there. I would be very curious. I would go to where my clients are at. So you really want, I would think about where are my clients, where are they at online and where are they at in person. And I actually want to find those clients in person first. And
Mm,
so that way I can get to know them. I can get curious about them. I have a series of questions that I ask people when I'm interested in coaching them, or if I'm interested in them as an ideal client, I ask them a series of questions, and that basically reveals to me what they value, their biggest pain point, how they imagine they need to be helped. That's a big one. Like, what's the real problem and the perceived problem are usually very different. We need to focus in on the
right.
perceived problem. Um, and so really getting curious about them. And if you talk to someone for an hour and you share very little about yourself and you primarily ask questions, they're going to be asking, you know, what do you do? How do you do it? Can I work with you? And so, and you know, I have these questions, and anytime I do it, I'd say like 8 out of 10 times, someone's like, "Sell me something." At the end of the conversation, I'm like, "Look,
Right.
man, I'm just being curious. I'm not trying to sell you anything." They don't even know what I do yet, and so,
Right.
um, and I play around with different things because I coach business, but sometimes I coach a couple other things too on the side, depending on the person, and this is just one of the things I do, and I stay curious. I would then take that information, I consolidate it. I'd say do 10 to 20 interviews like that. I call them interviews. You just go out, you find the ideal client, the person you'd love to work with, ask them these questions, and then taking that information, I would sit down and write uh, love letters to those people about the vision that like acknowledging them for all the hard work they've done so far and how uh, and how they've done a great job, and then paint a picture of a vision of the future that they may not even be able to see for themselves, but they're going to be excited about, and
Mm,
then close it up with giving them one piece of advice. So I sent out an email last week describing this little love letter formula, and the idea is you write one a day for 10 minutes. You set the timer for 10 minutes. You write one letter a day, and you're only looking to give one piece of advice. So it's like one acknowledgement. If you want to go further and do more, do an acknowledgement, a vision, and a piece of advice, and uh, that's going to reveal so much to you, and then that's going to give you a lot of ammunition for posting online, because then you start posting online, and there's you know, I would use very specific formulas, like really a lot of problem solution type of posts, like, this is your problem, this is my solution. I'm a big fan of pointing out what the solution is before telling them that it's my solution. So if, like, I'm a
mm,
keto coach, like if I like help people lose weight through ketosis or ketogenic diets, I would sell them on the benefits of ketogenic diet, get them bought in, and then go, by the way, I offer, you know, coaching for these services.
mm,
And so yeah, that's how I would approach it if I was, you know, starting with 0 followers and all
right.
that kind of stuff. But I would make friends with people in person, you know, get them on Instagram, Facebook, start making posts, and just, you know, start small. I mean, most coaches to go full time, if they have 10 to 20 clients,
They're
you're
good.
good. You're good.
Right.
You don't need, people get caught up. They see someone online with like 30, 40, 50, 60,000 or 100,000 followers, and they're trying to mimic what this person is doing. I'm like, no, that's like, in the training
Right.
world, I tell people, like, don't train like pro athletes. They've got 20 years of experience behind them. Go do what they did 20 years ago if you're just getting started. The same thing
Right.
applies to, uh, you know, these people that are learning how to market their coaching.
Totally. I think that's brilliant. And this is a lost art in the age of social media, right? Where everyone's like, TikTok's the thing now, or no, LinkedIn's back. And it's all about content strategy. But the OG way of in-person networking is the best way to do everything. And that's how I got started. I was just on the event train. I was at events, I was at these masterminds, at retreats, and that's where I met everyone. I mean, that's where we really first connected. And it's incredible. And I think since Corona, the game has changed, and luckily, you know, events are back and the climate's shifting. But yeah, I think more people could really benefit from that model, Mike. My next question for you, though, and I think you've shared a little bit of this over the years with me, but who is like your OG mentor, either from afar or that you worked with personally, that like you felt like you were like it was like Jedi level training that really shaped you into your business personality?
Eben Pagan.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, in 2009, I had a business partner who said, "Hey, we need to check out this dude's business training." And I was like, "Well, that guy's teaching internet marketing. How's this going to apply to the gym?" And he and I was like, "All right, I'll do it." So he rips Eben's content off of Pirate Bay, if you remember Pirate.
Yes.
So we stole it. You know, he stole it. I just got to enjoy the benefits of his stuff. But so in 2009, I'm living in my gym. I'm broke as a joke. Like I do not have enough money for rent. So I'm living in my gym. It's a 4-foot crawl space above the office. I throw a mattress up there. I did my best to hide the fact that I was living in my gym from my clients.
Wow.
That didn't seem professional. It wasn't. Uh, and so I was desperate, and I ended up watching some of these videos, and I really had a lot of constriction around it. I really like anything that was sales and marketing. Or like business operations. I was just like, oh, this is so icky. Like I feel gross. And you know, as I got older, I realized a lot of that was just passed down from my parents, watching my dad do his business poorly, and so I ended up watching those videos and making a huge difference. I mean, I was able to get a house. I bought a house. You know, as a CrossFit gym owner, I was able to use these techniques to basically have 2 cars, a 3,000 square foot house, and just like started traveling and all this. And then I went online and started podcasting and YouTubing, and I was actually having more trouble making money online than I was in person. And so I went to Eben Pagan's conference in 2013. It was $7,000, and I emptied my bank account to go to that. And I show up, and halfway through the week, I got everything I needed to move to the next level. And I came home, implemented. Within a few months, we were doing $30,000 a month online. So we went from almost nothing to 30,000. And then you know, Eben then says, "Hey, I got a mastermind." I'm like, "Okay, I'll join that." So I went to mastermind meetings in 2013, 2014. By 2015, we were doing over $100,000 a month in revenue. And it was totally based off of everything that I learned from Eben. I had you know, because I engaged with everything he was doing, I got some one-on-one conversations with him. And just, you know, I think being in the presence of others that are doing great things, like going to his mastermind where I'm sitting next to guys who, like, you know, these are 8-figure, 9-figure earners. And, you know, I'm like over here, like, I'm just trying to make, you know, 7 figures. So yeah. And they're like, "You got a YouTube channel? How's that YouTube thing work?" You know, because all these guys only knew email. And so I was like the YouTube expert all of a sudden. But yeah, Eben Pagan made a huge impact on me. Still does to this day. Yeah, I always pay attention to what that guy has going on. I attribute a lot of my success to what I learned from him.
So beautiful. I mean, what you just said, like I know that exact feeling of like coming home from an event or, you know, meeting someone, and really it's in the execution and implementation. I think so many times, like, you know exactly what you need to do, but it's like the struggle of getting home and implementing the strategy that I see hang up, you know, myself in the past and people I've worked with. And I know that is like kind of the number one struggle. And with all this stuff being thrown around now, Mike, about short form video content, right? That's like the new thing that you have to do even on here, right? Like this live, when I post it, will get, between 500 and 1,000 views maybe. But if this was a reel that was 1 minute of sound bites, I know you've been posting a lot of reels, then it gets thrown into like a different bucket. Um, do you see social media eventually just getting reduced to like goldfish attention span? Like, is TikTok and Instagram Reels fucking up our attention spans? Or will there be a bifurcation, which is kind of what I hope, where something blockchain based or longer form or more nuance comes out and a lot of us migrate? Like, where do you see that puck moving?
Yeah, I think that people who are serious about your content are going to be more interested in your long format. I think, like people on Instagram while they're sitting on the shitter, they're like
Right.
scrolling. They're not there to solve a problem. It is, you have to be really good at getting someone's attention really fast in order to get someone from an organic reel to the point where they're opting in or DMing you and you're now in a conversation about selling them. That's a long process. And some people are really good at it. Like if you've got that charisma and like you understand how the algorithm works and all that, you can probably do really well with it. I have some clients that they just crush with organic. People love long format. I mean, and the proof is in the pudding. We look at Joe Rogan. The dude does multiple 3 hour
Right.
shows a week, and he gets more downloads than all the major networks get viewers at any point in time, like by multiples. It's amazing. So people do like the long format, but and I'm a big fan. I mean, I podcast and like my two main things is podcast and email. And I personally have zero interest in, very little interest. I won't say zero because I do some reels. But where I'm at right now is create a piece of content a week, basically. So if someone ends up on your profile, they see that you're current and that what you're talking about is specific to them. And then most of the action is happening in the DMs right now. The last 2 years, basically since COVID hit, ads stop working as well. DM, I've run ads to DM conversations. There's that. So here's the thing. If you're a coach, you either have more time than money or money than time, right? And so if you have more time than you do have money, it is worth going out there and getting on other people's, people who are like you or share the same audience and getting in there and commenting and getting in DM conversations and, really treating it like the town square. It's like, oh, I'm out going to town square. I'm going to make some friends, whatever, I really like doing that. Now, if you have more money than time, I'm a big fan of running ads to the DMs or just running ads to a lead magnet and then getting people into long format email conversations. That's my favorite. That's how I like to do it now is I run ads to solve a very specific problem they have. And the very first email they get starts walking them down that path. And I want to get people off of social media and into my email as fast as possible. And that way we can have a real conversation. Am I going to get fewer people on email than I do social media? Yeah, I get more people opening my email than reading anything I post online. If I make a post on Facebook, and especially now that Reels is a thing, you really can't even post any long format content. It won't get seen. I think that Instagram copying TikTok, dude, Instagram totally screwed themselves. It's over. We're in my opinion, we're on a dying platform right now. Like,
I think so.
Yeah, and I'm not sure TikTok. I got the sense that the Gen Zers are a bit disgusted with all of it. Some of them are getting sucked into it, but I think they're waking up to there's a real problem. We got like record-breaking anxiety and depression going on amongst a young crowd that should be healthy.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, no, you know what I'm getting at, but trailed off.
Have you messed with TikTok a lot? Have you like messed with how, I mean, what's the interesting thing about TikTok? First off, it's a search engine like YouTube.
Yeah.
So it has that going for it. And then it uses an interest graph over a social graph. So like here, right now, the algorithm will kick us mutual friends and followers, to my understanding. But TikTok goes by topic or what you like and the algorithmic buckets for that. So that's why apparently you can still go organically viral. Although
It
I've
sounds
heard
like a
people
better
do it.
platform. Sounds like a better platform. If what you like is short videos. Like
Right.
it's definitely, like I'm saying, like Instagram tried to copy it, but they're not. Instagram should have stuck with what they did well, and they would have still probably puttered out, but I think they killed it sooner. Yeah, because if I'm going to be watching Instagram Reels, why wouldn't I just be on TikTok?
Right.
So, yeah, I think TikTok's probably the better platform. Like if someone came in and said I have no social media following at all, I'd say go to TikTok.
Right.
There's that's obviously the new up and comer, and it has more than double the engagement of Facebook and Instagram combined. So there's
Isn't
more eyeballs. I don't like from a society perspective that it's being used as a search engine, because I mean,
right.
dude, Google sucks bad enough. And TikTok, you think that's going to get better? It's going to be a bunch of opinions, a bunch of people stating their opinions. That's what man, the truth is getting muddled pretty hard. But, so I don't like it from a societal perspective. And that's why I'm not really, I kind of have an account. I have my assistant repurpose some stuff and put on there, but I really don't like it. So, yeah, just from a society perspective, don't like it. But if you're good at that and you like it, it's the better platform. I mean, it's obvious.
Sure. Yeah, I think if you were at zero right now and you hadn't, you're carrying a following from like your original YouTube days, right? And even before that.
Yeah,
And right, so they're kind of coming with you across platforms, and that's valuable, right? Those are your like the true fans.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I forget the name of the book, but basically or maybe it's like an ebook, but they talk about, 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
Like all you need. Like I think it was the numbers are like you need an audience of 1,000, 100 fans, and 10 clients, and you're good to go. Like people think they have to have 100,000. It's like, no, you start with 1,000, you're going to be good. If you
Right.
can't convert someone out of 1,000, then your offer sucks. Like that's the thing, is most people think that like more followers is always the answer, and it might be because, I mean, it's the most obvious thing you can see amongst coaches that appear to be successful, and then you got people dropping in the DM saying, "I can get you 100 followers for $100," or whatever whatever scam is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The following thing is a silly game and a silly carrot to chase. Mike, I want to know, what is your long game? Like, do you see yourself continuing to coach and run the Strong Coach Academy and do events like you've been doing into the future? Or do you see at some point like stepping back even more and, being more owner operator? And what does it look like for you?
Yeah, I'll probably step back even more. Not take out the probably. I'm stepping back more and more. I love coaching, and I want to be directly coaching people who have that spark. Someone who is. I really enjoy coaching people who already have big followings.
Right.
I think a big part of that is how I built my following was very natural. I don't really understand how I do it. It's just I've got charisma, and I don't know how to teach that. But for other people that also have charisma, that have an easy time building a following, what I find is a lot of times they're not making nearly as much money as they should with the following that they have. And like Like people should be making at least $1 for every follower they have on their main platform. If you're not making $1 a month per follower on your platform, then your offer needs work, your messaging needs work, that kind of thing. But what I find is with someone who already has a large following, usually their messaging is working in some way, but they don't know exactly what to offer those people. So I really enjoy working with people who, you know, they have 10,000 plus followers on a platform somewhere, and I know how to just, I can turn that into more money within like 30, 60 days. I like working with people for short periods of time. I find that I get the most oomph in, like, say, the first 90 days. And if they already have a following, that's good. So those are the people I'm really interested in coaching personally. But I do have curriculum, I have systems, and I have coaches that serve, and they're going to keep working. And so if you're just getting started as a coach, I have programs for that, and I have coaches that you can hire to help you. But I'm stepping more into just working with the people who already have big followings.
Right, which makes a lot of sense. Mike, is there anything new and exciting coming up in your sphere? Like, are you launching anything new, or is it more of the same right now?
One of the things I'm doing right now, I'm working on, is so I had a program called 0 to 5K, and we just launched the last coaching round of that program. What I'm doing right now is I'm packaging that up into a few different digital products. I'm going to sell it for a fraction of the price of the coaching, and just say, hey, here's the information. It's organized in a fashion that's going to take you step by step, but not offering coaching for that level anymore. What'll happen is 10% of the people will crush it, and then they'll move into the next level and want to get coaching. And then 90% of the people will just, you know, they're not action takers. And I'm not really, I don't want to waste my energy or my coach's energy trying to get people to implement.
Right.
Not really. There is coaching for that type of thing. You know, go to Landmark Forum if you have trouble taking action. But if you're already an action taker, like, you know, if you go, oh, Mike said to do this, I'll try it out in an hour, you know, and right now, you know, if you're a right now action taker, then that's what I want. If you're not, you know, there's other programs for you.
Totally. Yeah, we're drowning in information. It's about the precise discerning information and then the willingness to execute on it that actually is making people successful now. Because you can Google or YouTube almost anything and learn any skill or any business model right now. Anything. But why you would pay you or your coaches or like enroll in one of these programs is like you want a specific touch level of information and you want someone that can help you implement it when you're meeting them halfway, actually executing, not just watching, you know, 1,000 YouTube videos, which I've done plenty of.
Yeah, there's information that's useful and there's information that's distracting, and the average person cannot create a distinction between those two. And so the coach is there to take this massive amount of information and consolidate it, and then understand your specific situation and go, do this. That's it. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Just do this. Okay. So it's I see one of the big jobs of a coach is just to create context. Because context, we have tons of information, almost no context.
That's it. Well, Mike, well, I'm always learning a lot when I speak to you because you're such an OG when it comes to this stuff. And yeah, I know personally, having been at Mike's event and seen his circle of influence, just how powerful his work is. So if you're not following him, go over there and check him out on Instagram. You can find all this stuff about Mike and his Strong Coaching Academy and all the other good things, his podcasts and all that amazing stuff. And yeah, brother, I can't wait to see you when I get back to Austin here in a month or two.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to hanging. Love you, brother.
Big love, man. Have an epic day over there.
You too.